It's natural to wonder why God allows these painful experiences to happen in the first place. Why does He let people deceive us? Why does He let them betray us, hurt us, and walk away without consequences? The answer is this: God allows it because He is preparing something greater for you. Sometimes the people who betray you were never meant to stay in your life. Sometimes the relationships that fell apart were never built on truth to begin with. Sometimes the people who left you were only meant to be there for a season. And sometimes the betrayal itself is what pushes you into the next level of your destiny. Look at the story of Joseph. His own brothers betrayed him. They were jealous of him, so they threw him into a pit and sold him into slavery. For years, Joseph suffered. He was accused of crimes he did not commit, thrown into prison and abandoned by the very people who were supposed to love him. But what happened in the end? God raised Joseph up to a position of power. He became second in command in Egypt, and the very brothers who betrayed him had to come to him for help. The very people who tried to destroy him had to watch as God blessed him beyond their imagination. That is what God does. The pain you are experiencing right now is not the end of your story. It is a setup for something greater. The betrayals, the heartbreak, the disappointments, they are all part of a bigger plan, and when the time is right, God will reveal that plan to you. He will expose the ones who hurt you. He will lift you up in front of those who tried to bring you down. He will restore everything that was stolen from you, and He will bless you beyond measure. But for now, trust Him. Trust that He sees everything. Trust that He is working behind the scenes. Trust that He will make things right in His perfect time. Because the God who sees everything never forgets. There are moments in life when the weight of betrayal, deception, and pain becomes almost too much to bear. You wonder how people can act so cruelly, how they can inflict pain without remorse, and how they seem to move forward in life without consequence. It can feel as if justice is delayed, as if the ones who caused you harm will never be held accountable. But that is only an illusion. God sees everything. He is not blind to your suffering. He is not unaware of the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the days when you carried the weight of heartbreak in silence. The moments when you questioned your own worth because of how others treated you. Every single action, every single word, and every single hidden intention. God has seen it all, and in His perfect timing He will bring everything to light. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that people will get away with what they have done to you. It is easy to think that because no one else sees it, justice will never come. But the truth is, no one escapes God's judgment. He is a God of righteousness, a God of truth, and a God who defends those who are wronged. The pain you are feeling is not unnoticed, nor is it wasted. Every wound, every moment of suffering, every hardship you have endured is being transformed into something greater. But in order to see it, you must trust in God's plan. You must resist the temptation to take matters into your own hands. You must refrain from seeking revenge or trying to control the situation. Because when you attempt to force justice on your own, you delay the work that God is already doing. There is a reason why certain people were removed from your life. There is a reason why certain relationships did not work out. There is a reason why you faced betrayal, rejection, and pain. God was protecting you. He was removing people who were never meant to go where He is taking you. He was cutting ties that would have only held you back. What you saw as heartbreak, He saw as preparation. What you viewed as loss, He saw as liberation. Some people were never meant to stay in your life. No matter how much you cared about them, no matter how deeply you invested in them, no matter how much you believed they could change, God saw their hearts when you couldn't. He saw the jealousy, the deception, the manipulation, and the selfish intentions that were hidden beneath their smiles. And so, He allowed them to show their true colors. He allowed them to leave, because He knew that in the long run, you were better off without them. But it's not easy to accept. It's difficult to understand why people we loved could turn against us. It's painful to watch them walk away without looking back. It's agonizing to feel abandoned, to feel like everything you did for them meant nothing. But remember this, God is not punishing you, He is protecting you. There are people in your life who are only meant to be there for a season. Their purpose in your story has been fulfilled, and God is making room for something better. There are lessons that needed to be learned, growth that needed to happen, and transformations that could only come through struggle. And though it hurts now, though it feels unfair, one day you will look back and understand why everything happened the way it did. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. God is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet comprehend. The people who hurt you may seem like they are thriving, like they have moved on without consequence, like they are continuing their lives without facing judgment, but do not be deceived by appearances. Just because you do not see their downfall does not mean it isn't coming. Just because justice hasn't arrived yet does not mean it has been denied. God's timing is perfect. When He exposes, He does so in a way that no one can deny. When He brings justice, it is undeniable, inescapable, and irreversible. You may feel like the lies spoken against you have taken root, but there will come a day when the truth will rise. You may feel like those who wronged you have won, but there will come a time when their actions will come back upon them. Because no one, no matter how powerful they think they are, can escape the justice of God. Do not waste your energy chasing closure from those who hurt you. Do not beg for apologies that will never come. Do not seek validation from people who were never meant to understand your worth. Instead, turn your focus to God. Place your trust in Him. Believe that He is moving on your behalf. And when the time is right, He will restore everything that was taken from you. But you must be patient. You must not allow anger, bitterness, or resentment to consume you. You must not let the actions of others dictate your peace. The enemy wants you to stay stuck in the pain. He wants you to keep replaying the betrayal, the hurtful words, the rejection, because as long as you do, you are trapped. As long as you dwell in the past, you cannot step into the future God has for you. Let them go. Let go of the need for revenge. Let go of the need for validation. Let go of the need to prove yourself, because God will do it for you. The very people who doubted you will have no choice but to witness the blessings God is about to pour into your life. The same ones who betrayed you will see you rise. The ones who tried to destroy your spirit will watch as you flourish. And when they come back, and they will, when they try to reconcile, when they try to rewrite history, when they try to downplay what they did, you will no longer be the person they once knew. The person, because what they meant for harm, God used for your growth. What they did to break you, God used to build you. And by the time God is finished with you, you will be so far ahead, so completely healed, so incredibly blessed, that their opinions will no longer matter. God is your defender. He is your vindicator. He is the one who fights for you, and when He steps in, everything changes. So release the burden, trust in His plan, and watch as He turns everything meant to harm you into something greater than you could have ever imagined. There comes a time when you must step back and recognize that the battles you are fighting are not yours to fight alone. The weight of betrayal, the sting of rejection, and the ache of injustice can consume you if you let them. But what if you understood that every single thing happening in your life, even the most painful moments, is seen by God? What if you realized that nothing is hidden from Him, and that He is already working in ways you cannot yet see? It is human nature to want justice immediately. When someone wrongs us, we want to see them suffer in the same way they made us suffer. We want closure, validation, and recognition of our pain. But often, life does not work that way. The people who hurt you might seem unaffected. They might carry on as if nothing happened. They may even prosper. leaving you wondering where the fairness is in that. But rest assured, just because you do not see justice happening does not mean it is not unfolding in its own way. God operates in ways beyond our understanding. He does not simply punish for the sake of punishment. He exposes people at the right time in the right way, so that his greater plan is fulfilled. Those who hurt you, those who deceived you, those who took advantage of your kindness, they are not free from consequence. They are only walking on borrowed time. What they sow, they will eventually reap. Their actions, their choices, their betrayals will all come back to them. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but it is inevitable. The hardest part of healing is letting go of the desire to see immediate justice. It takes immense strength to trust that God is handling things on your behalf. It takes faith to walk away from the pain and release it into his hands. But when you do, you create space for something far greater: peace. You allow yourself to step out of the darkness and into the light of a future that is not defined by the people who hurt you. Holding on to pain only keeps you connected to those who do not deserve a place in your life. It keeps you anchored to the past, unable to move forward. But when you let go, truly let go, you reclaim your power. You shift your energy from dwelling on injustice to focusing on the life that is still ahead of you. The most powerful thing you can do in the face of betrayal is to continue living well, to rise above, to heal, to grow, and to thrive in a way that shows you are not defined by the wrongs done to you. The people who wronged you expected you to crumble. They expected you to break, to become bitter, to waste your time dwelling on them. But you must not give them that power. Instead, choose to move forward. Choose to focus on what God is doing in your life, because while you were focused on the hurt, he was already laying the foundation for your next blessing. While you were grieving what was lost, he was preparing something better. Every time you felt abandoned, misunderstood, or betrayed, he was shaping you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone unshaken by the schemes of others. When you truly believe that God sees everything, you stop worrying about what people are getting away with. You stop stressing over whether they will face consequences. You realize that their fate is not your burden to carry. Your job is not to make them see the error of their ways. Your job is not to fix them, to change them, or to convince them of their wrongdoing. Your only job is to heal, to grow, to allow God to elevate you in ways that make their presence in your past irrelevant. The beauty of God's justice is that it does not need your help. You do not have to scheme, manipulate, or involve yourself in their downfall. It will happen on its own. When it does, you will not need to gloat. You will not need revenge, because by then you will have outgrown it all. The pain they caused will no longer define you. The anger will no longer live in you. You will have stepped into the person God always intended you to be, unshaken, unbothered, and untouched by their chaos. And the most powerful thing, when they finally face the consequences of their actions, when the weight of their choices comes crashing down, they will remember you. They will remember the way they treated you. They will see that you are thriving while they are falling apart. And by then, it will be too late. God will expose everything in its time. He will reveal the truth in ways that leave no room for denial. He will allow those who wronged you to experience firsthand what they put you through. But by then, you will be far beyond it. By then, you will no longer be waiting for justice. You will be living in the blessings that came from trusting God's plan. So let it go. Let them go. Trust that everything is happening exactly as it should, and watch as God moves in ways that prove that no wrongdoing ever goes unseen. There is a deep sense of peace that comes when you finally understand that you do not need to fight every battle. You do not need to carry the weight of seeking justice on your own, because God sees everything. He sees the betrayals, the lies, the deceit, and the hidden pain that others have caused you. More importantly, he sees your heart, your struggle, your patience, and your faith. He knows what you have endured, and he will not let it go unnoticed. It is easy to get caught up in wanting closure. You might feel like you need an apology, an acknowledgement of the pain that was inflicted upon you. You might be waiting for someone to admit they were wrong, to finally see the damage they have done. But here is the truth. Closure does not come from people, it comes from God. And when you realize that, you stop waiting. You stop looking back. You stop expecting the people who hurt you to heal you, because they cannot. What you must remember is that the people who wronged you are not in control of your destiny. They do not have the final say over your future. No matter how much they tried to break you, no matter what they took from you, they did not take your purpose. They did not take your faith. They did not take your ability to rise. And when God steps in, he restores everything you lost in ways that you never imagined. Let go of the anger. Let go of the resentment. These emotions do not serve you. They do not bring you peace, and they certainly do not bring you closer to God. What they do is keep you stuck in the past, reliving the pain over and over again. But you were not meant to live in the past. You were meant to move forward, to grow, to evolve, and to become the person God always intended you to be. Healing does not mean that what happened to you was okay. It does not mean that you condone the actions of those who hurt you. Healing simply means that you refuse to let that pain have power over you any longer. It means that you choose peace over revenge, faith over fear, and love over bitterness. God's justice is different from human justice. We often think of justice as punishment, as making sure that the people who wronged us suffer in the same way we suffered. But God's justice is deeper than that. His justice is about revelation, about exposing truth, about setting things right in ways that we cannot always understand in the moment. Sometimes, the greatest justice is not in watching someone else suffer, but in seeing how much better your life becomes when you remove them from it. One day, the people who hurt you will have to face the consequences of their actions. It might not happen in the way you expect, and it might not happen on your timeline, but it will happen. The truth always comes to light. Deception can only last for so long before it crumbles. Lies can only be sustained for a season before they are revealed. And when that moment comes, when the weight of their actions finally catches up with them, they will see clearly. They will understand what they did, and they will have to live with it. But by then you will no longer be waiting for it. You will have moved on. You will have healed. You will be living a life so full, so blessed, so abundant, that their downfall will no longer concern you. Because that is what happens when you trust God. He does not just restore you. He elevates you. He takes what was meant to harm you and turns it into something that strengthens you. He takes what was lost and replaces it with something even greater. This is why you must release the need for revenge. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. You do not have to get even. You do not have to make them see your worth. The moment you understand this is the moment you are free. Free from the chains of anger, free from the burden of resentment, free from the pain of the past. God is always working, even when you cannot see it. He's moving pieces into place, preparing you for something greater. Do not waste your energy worrying about people who were never meant to stay in your life. Do not let their actions dictate your future. Instead, focus on your own path, your own healing, and your own growth. Because that is where your power lies. You are stronger than what happened to you. You are not defined by your pain. You are not a victim, you are a survivor. And more than that, you are victorious. Because no matter what was done to you, you are still standing. You are still here, still breathing, still moving forward. And that is proof that nothing and no one can take away what God has planned for you. So trust in His timing. Trust that He sees everything. Trust that He will handle it. And most importantly, trust that your best days are still ahead of you. Because they are. And no amount of betrayal, pain, or loss can change that. There is a truth that many people overlook in their journey through pain, betrayal, and disappointment. And that truth is this: God sees everything. Nothing escapes His eyes. No action, no thought, no intention. He sees the tears you cried in silence, the hurt you buried deep within, and the trust that was shattered by those you once held dear. He sees the moments when you questioned your worth, when you wondered if the pain was your fault, when you begged for answers that never came. But He also sees what you cannot. He sees beyond the betrayal, beyond the heartbreak, beyond the injustice. He sees the strength within you that you have yet to realize. He sees the path forward even when all you can see is darkness. And He knows that what was meant to break you will, in time, become the very thing that strengthens you. It is easy to become consumed by thoughts of revenge. You want them to feel what you felt, to experience the pain they inflicted upon you. You want justice, and you want it now. But God's justice is not bound by human impatience. It is not concerned with proving a point or satisfying your emotions. His justice is about divine balance. He ensures that every wrong is made right, but in His time and in His way. Sometimes the people who hurt you seem to go unpunished. They move forward, living their lives as if nothing ever happened. They might even appear to be thriving while you struggle with the weight of what they did. But do not be fooled by appearances. What you see is only the surface. Beneath it there is a storm brewing, a reckoning that only God controls. You must remind yourself that the battle is not yours to fight. It is not your responsibility to expose the truth, to make others see what you already know. That is God's work, and He will do it in a way that leaves no doubt. When He reveals, He does so completely. When He restores, He does so abundantly. And when He removes people from your life, He does so with purpose. What you must do now is let go, not because they deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve your peace. Holding on to anger, resentment, and the need for validation only binds you to the very people you are trying to break free from. You do not need closure from them. You do not need them to understand the depth of your pain. You do not need their apologies or explanations. What you need is to trust that God is already handling it. The ones who wronged you will one day come to realize the weight of their actions. It may not be today, and it may not be in a way that you witness, but it will happen. There is no escaping God's justice. The things done in darkness will always be brought to light. Lies will unravel. The masks will fall. And when that moment arrives, you will not be waiting for it. You will have already moved on, healed, and stepped into a life far greater than what they could have ever given you. Let them go. Let the past remain where it belongs. Stop replaying the conversations. Stop searching for hidden meanings in their actions. Stop hoping for a different ending. The story has already been written, and their role in your life has ended. When God closes a door, do not waste your time knocking on it. He has something far greater in store for you, something beyond what you can currently imagine. You might not see it now, but every heartbreak, every betrayal, every loss was making room for something better. The pain was not wasted. The tears were not in vain. God was using those moments to refine you, to prepare you, to shape you into the person you are meant to become. And when the time is right, you will understand why things had to happen the way they did. What you must focus on now is yourself, your healing, your peace, your future. Do not let the actions of others dictate the course of your life. Do not let their mistakes become the prison that holds you back. You are not defined by the way they treated you. You are not less worthy because they failed to see your value. Your worth does not decrease because someone else was too blind to recognize it. God sees you. He sees your heart, your struggles, your faith, and He will not let you down. What was taken from you will be restored, what was broken will be healed, and what was lost will be replaced with something even greater. But you must be willing to let go of what no longer serves you. You must trust that His plan is better than anything you could have designed for yourself. The people who hurt you will have their moment of realization. They will come to understand the depth of their mistakes. They will see that what they did had consequences far greater than they anticipated. But by the time they do, you will no longer be looking back. You will be too busy living the life that was meant for you, too busy embracing the blessings that came from your pain, too busy walking in the purpose that was always yours. So do not waste another moment dwelling on those who do not deserve your energy. Do not let them steal any more of your peace. The only person who controls your future is God, and He is leading you towards something far greater than you could have ever imagined. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep believing, because the best is yet to come.